Now, as you can see there, guys, our depth jump is we are jumping down or moving off, creating ground contact, and then jumping up from a depth. You can see I've got a 25 kilo plate here. You can do this with whatever. Just keep in mind, especially if you're starting out doing your depth jumps, is you want to start from a relatively low height. So something like a 25 kilo, of course, bumper plate, not metal plate, is probably a really good starting point. It's nice, short. We don't have to have a lot of force being driven into the Achilles in order to then jump up. So I would recommend starting with a light plate. You can then I would recommend starting with a low plate. You can then very easily bump up by simply putting 5s or 10s or another 25 on here, on top of this plate to increase that depth. Now remember, the next point is the second we make ground contact, we're jumping. So what we don't want to do is step off, pause, and then jump. We're trying to keep the Achilles coiled. So think of a spring. We're trying to keep that spring coiled and then release that energy straight away upon contact. So we step off. Second we make that contact, we jump up. Much like the pogo, make sure you sweep through. And I always like to give the cue, you're trying to get up as high as you can. Finally, the last thing I want you to try and avoid as well is try to avoid gaining any depth. So moving into a squat. So we don't want to come off and go down and then jump up. Again, everything's then moved, or a lot of the effort has moved out of the Achilles and it's now moving into quads, ham, glute, you name it. So staying nice and proud, step off, jump as soon as we make that ground contact.